Donald Trump is facing criticisms from all sides over his vague and confusing Iran deal, with some Republicans blaming J.D. Vance and insisting that Trump wasn't really involved. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. As you may remember, Trump made it clear when he ran for president that the era of regime change and nation building was over.
We will abandon the policy of reckless regime change. We're going to stop the reckless and costly policy of regime change overseas. Our policy of never-ending war, regime change and nation building is being replaced by the clear-eyed pursuit of American interests. We believe that the job of the United States military is not to wage endless regime change wars around the globe. We're going to end these endless wars. Our current strategy of nation building and regime change is a proven absolute failure. It's stupid. Endless wars that they don't even want us. You know, we got into wars they didn't even want us.
It's true, although if you stopped going places where people didn't want you, you wouldn't leave the house. I mean, you've been booed at the Kennedy Center, the U.S. Open, the FIFA tournament, a Washington Commander game, a restaurant in D.C., and the NBA Finals. The boos are so constant, I'm starting to wonder if you're just constantly surrounded by ghosts. That would explain why you're the only one who can see RFK Jr. I have unfinished business. I have 10 pounds of kangaroo meat left in my freezer. Here's the thing, Trump was right, but he was also full of shit. It's what's known among scientists as the Trump paradox. He knows what people want to hear, but he has no intention of actually giving it to them. He's like an ice cream truck that plays the jingle, and then everyone comes running over, and all he has is an ice cube on a stick. People were tired of pointless regime change wars, which is why they were willing to listen when he said things like this.
After spending trillions of dollars overseas rebuilding other countries, it is time to rebuild our own country and to take care of our citizens. The money that we've spent overseas, not to mention in the Middle East, where as of 2 months ago, we had spent $7 trillion. And yet, if we have to fix a road, we can't fix it. If we have to fix a tunnel, we don't do it because we don't have the money. We spent $7 trillion in the Middle East. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with you, but do you agree with you? Because it's been 8 years since that clip, and as far as I'm aware, you haven't fixed a single road or tunnel. You can't even clean a pool. That's supposed to be the reflecting pool. It looks like the koi pond at Grey Gardens. The only thing it looks like it's reflecting is the Hulk's ball sack. You'll never unsee it. In fact, not only have we not fixed anything, we're once again spending a lot of money on nation building and another pointless war in the Middle East.
We have the greatest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest, most powerful. Look at the blockade. By the way, the blockade was more impactful than all of the bombing raids where we dropped $1 billion worth of bombs on Iran.
So we spent $1 billion on bombs and it didn't even accomplish anything? That's bad. That's not something you should say out loud. That's like Hannibal Lecter saying, yeah, I ate 2 guys, but they didn't even taste good. Also, my man, it wasn't just $1 billion. At one point, it was $1 billion per day. The first week of the war alone cost $11 billion, and that was back in March. That's almost as much as it's going to cost to rebuild New York after the Knicks parade. I mean, I assume we're in Midtown, nowhere near the parade, and it has been spookily empty here today. I mean, half the city was at this parade. It's like the rapture. My staff is gone. When I got here and asked Wally to show me the cue cards and he didn't move, and then it turned out it was just a mannequin with a tape recorder.
Nice one, Seth.
I'm just kidding, you guys. Wally's not at the parade because he's a Celtics fan. Everybody boo Wally. Oh, we went out and got Wally the newest hat. Look at how new Wally's hat is. We told Wally, he was like, can I keep it? I'm like, no! We're gonna return it as soon as a closer look's over. But when Wally gets booed, he knows how Trump feels. The point is, Trump told us the era of nation building and expensive wars was over, but it sounds like we're right back where we started.
If Iran complies with the Memorandum of Understanding, it will be rewarded. Possible rewards include $24 billion in frozen Iranian assets,
Those benefits could include relief from U.S. sanctions and access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund created by Iran's Arab neighbors.
The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation.
Cool. Can we get a $300 billion reconstruction fund? You see, we have been promised a tunnels. We need one big enough for Mitchell Robinson to get his truck through. Dude rode his own truck in the parade instead of a float. How awesome is that? Unfortunately, he did park it in a loading zone. The point is, Vance says Iran will only get $300 billion if they honor their end of the obligation. Can you at least tell us what their end of the obligation is? What is in this deal?
It's a great deal for a lot of reasons, but number one, by far, 99.9% is they will never have a nuclear weapon, and you can't give Iran a nuclear weapon, and they will never have a nuclear weapon, so that's very, very strong. It's a very strong deal. Nobody knows what it is, but it's very strong.
What do you mean nobody knows what it is? Why not? Is it written in Zodiac code? Is it a diplomatic agreement or the list of herbs and spices? Also, it's an agreement. With agreements, the key is that everyone knows what it is for the purposes of the agreeing. This is like if you said to your bride, I'm just gonna do my vows in my head. Why won't you say them out loud? Of course, what's more likely is you don't know, but somebody does, because the Iranians seem to know very well. They're bragging about this deal like they just sold Trump a fake handbag in Chinatown. It's a very strong deal. I only paid $130 and I got a premium handbag from my favorite company, Couch. You can tell it's real because it's made from raccoon skin. Couch bags have the same texture as my upper body. Seriously, can you tell us what, exactly does this deal do?
On Sunday, we reached an agreement with Iran that achieves everything we set out to accomplish, everything and much more. Ending the current conflict, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and preventing Iran from ever obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Wait, so the three goals of the deal to end the war were ending the war, reopening a strait that was already open before we started the war, preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, which they had already agreed not to obtain under the deal you ripped up, which started the war, that closed the strait, which you reopened by ending the war you started. I have a worse headache. I currently have a worse headache than the Knicks the morning after they won the title. And at least they won something. In fact, they won 15 of the last 16 games they played, and the only one they lost was the one you were at, and they only lost because they were so distracted by all your snoring. This is insane. Can't you give us any more specifics about this deal?
Mr. President, when will the text of the MOU be released?
I think pretty soon. I would say, I want it to be released because it's a very powerful document. It's not like the Obama document, which was just a terrible document. This is a very powerful document. Here's what it says. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's what it says. I'll not only release it, I'll probably have a press conference and read it to you word by word.
Every president in history knew what mattered was in the document, not how it would be read or where it would be read, just what was in it. Meanwhile, this dude's talking about everything but it's a great document printed on 8.5 by 11-inch paper, multiple pages. So there is a staple, and we slid it into a manila envelope. We love the manila envelopes with a little clasp. They figured it out. You go like this, and then there's a little hole, and then you push them down, and then you can shake it, and the document does. It's a good document, very powerful. Also, please don't read it word for word. Just release it. You can barely read your own State of the Union. I can't listen to you slur your way through a highly technical diplomatic agreement like a guy reading the back of a NyQuil bottle after chugging half of it. Listening to you is like being a toddler and watching your elderly grandfather read you a bedtime story. Good night. Let's see here. Where was I? Good night. I know I I know it's here. Good night, moon, old man. Just give me the book. It really sounds to me like Trump hasn't even read the memorandum of understanding he signed. But what do I know? I'm just a crooked left-wing hater with Trump derangement syndrome. Surely the people who talk to Trump know better.
So this big memorandum of understanding comes out. I've talked to Jared Kushner. I've talked to Steve Witkoff. I've talked to the president. I've talked to everybody. And I don't think a memorandum of understanding means a thing. And the president, I tend to listen to the president's words. And because that is final anyway. I don't even think the president saw the memorandum of understanding, to be very blunt with you.
Are you basing that on his lack of general understanding? But wait, if he didn't even see it, how does he know it's a very powerful document? Oh my God, are you saying Trump lied?
Lied like a dog.
And here you guys were the ones who said Joe Biden never knew what his own administration was up to. In fact, Republicans hate this deal so much, they're doing exactly what they criticized Biden for. They're saying that actually Trump's people are the ones who are in charge, and Trump himself doesn't really know what's going on.
This MOU appears to be, just from the text, a disaster that does not achieve any of the actual signal goals that were set by the administration at the beginning. The Vice President of the United States, the chief negotiator on this particular project, has not well served the president.
I just wonder if the vice president, who was against this, by all reports, was against the conflict to begin with, maybe he wasn't the right person to bring this conflict to an end. This is his deal. It's not the president's deal. And it's his deal and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner together. I just hope they didn't let the president down, because the president's putting a lot of stock in them.
Right.
And he can't do everything himself. I just hope they didn't let him down.
So Netanyahu tricked him into the war, and now J.D. Vance tricked him out of the war, and you think he's doing a good job. Why? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like he's a pushover. Does he fall for phishing scams, too? I bet he calls the Social Security offices twice a week asking for a new number. Yeah, I texted the old one to someone because they said I had unclaimed lottery money. Well, I know it's a scam now, Steve. So if the deal works, Trump will get the credit, and if it doesn't work, JD will get the blame. This is a reminder to JD Vance. They call you Trump's number 2 because he's gonna treat you like The iron law of Trump is that Trump will always betray everyone around him. You will never get what you want out of him. He's the human equivalent of a cursed monkey paw. You're there to cover for his screw-ups. You're the refs, he's Wemby, but America is gonna make a comeback because America is the Knicks, baby. The war was pointless, it never should have happened, and this deal just proves that. It doesn't accomplish anything Trump claimed he was trying to accomplish. Maybe Americans got something out of this war, but if they did...
Nobody knows what it is.
This has been A Closer Look. Hey, guys.